Well, folks, welcome back. We are rolling into season 3 of Indie Choice Picks. First off, I just want to say thank you for everyone who's come on the show and for you for watching the show. Without you, we wouldn't have made it this far. I got a whole new list of creators, a whole new list of cool comics for you guys to check out. And today, coming on to the show is a creator by the name of Cider Hype, who is known for his creation Star Supreme and the Colossals. What a fantastic idea. It's kind of like Justice League and Avengers meets indie comics, and I'm so excited to bring you guys this creator. So please sit back, relax, grab some popcorn. You're in quarantine anyway, there's nothing else for you to do, and check out this new episode of Indie Choice Picks with Cider Hype and his creation Star Supreme and the Colossals, guys. Enjoy. Hello, Cider. Thank you for coming on to the show. Yeah, I haven't been really doing the show as much, so you're kind of like the first interviewee of season 3 of Indie Choice Pick. So, welcome to the show.
Well, thank you for having me as the first out for season 3. It's a pleasure to be here, and it's a great day to talk about superheroes.
Oh, dude, we love superheroes. Everyone loves superheroes, especially after that little fiasco with Marvel and their safe space and snowflake kind of deal. So everyone is trying to get their hands on something a little bit different. So I'm going to give the mic over to you. Tell the audience who you are, what you're working on, and mic is yours. Go for it.
Hi. Well, I'm Cider Hype. On Twitter, I'm at Cider Hype. That's what I go by on the internet. I'm with Comicsgate, part of the rebellion against the mainstream that's currently falling apart, as you mentioned earlier.
Yes, it is. We're going apart real fast.
So what I'm doing is I'm putting together a alternative creation here that would pick up kind of where superheroes are as they exist today.
Okay.
What I have here is, as soon as I get back over to the client, there it is. Share. Is it sharing the correct screen?
Yep, I can see it perfectly.
So this is an advertisement that I am circulating for the Colossals mailing list. My superheroes are based off of what I love about DC and Marvel, and the things that I don't like I left behind.
Right.
So in this, you can see that Star Supreme is a kind of a Superman analog. There's no hiding that. We should be honest about that, I think. So as you can see here, she's in her power pose with her hands on her hips, winking at you, inviting you to join that mailing list.
All right.
Star Supreme and the Colossals are based on the Justice League, the Avengers, and other heroes like that, but distilled through my vision of heroism. And for me, I believe that heroism should be centered on a brighter tomorrow.
Right. Sounds good.
When I went about creating the other heroes, and I showed this one to you earlier, this is Hypercussion.
That's some really good artwork. I saw that. I don't know if it was on Instagram. It might have been on Instagram or Twitter, but I saw that. And I was like, God, that looks really good. The colors, the line work, the pose, the perspective, all of it just looks great.
Yeah, this artist was very excited to take it on. You can see this on my Twitter, where the artist himself on his Twitter is actually added, I guess. I'm not sure. His Twitter handle is there to link to him. When creating other superheroes, the important thing to me was to remember that these are going to inspire children.
Right.
And I think we kind of got lost with that, with our heroes. Like, I know you're a fan of the Power Rangers. I've seen that in some of your previous videos.
Yes, I am.
The Power Rangers have kind of drifted away from everyone can be a hero to you have to have some special thing about your body or your lineage to be a Power Ranger. And the thing that I like to remind people in my stories of is that while these characters have these amazing abilities, they're not gods. They're not above you. They encourage you to go out and do your best.
I think I agree with that too, because I remember when I was watching Power Rangers, and I still watch it because they have all of them on Netflix. I don't watch past, I think before Saban bought it back, Samurai. I didn't watch any of that, mainly because I had watched the Sentai first, and I was like, man, this is really good. And then when you go to like the American iteration, it's kind of like not as great because they have to tone down the story and plot devices for American audiences. But when I was watching Power Rangers, when I was a kid, none of the main Rangers had any type of differences with their body or genetics. Like they were all just normal teenagers who are all of a sudden becoming a superhero and they have no idea what to do. And a lot of that is the old Power Rangers. They had a lot of backstory on how they became Rangers, how the Red Ranger was probably like the last one to kind of change into a Ranger, stuff like that. So I really like that idea of just ordinary people. Nothing's too off about them. They go to school, they work, they have families, they have extracurricular activities, but underneath it all, you know, when duty calls, they have to, you know, do what they need to do to become, you know, either Power Rangers or superheroes or anything like that. And that's why, like, old Justice League, Superman, he has a girlfriend, Lois Lane. He works, he pays his bills, but at the same time, he's Superman. Same with the Flash. He's a CSI operative, the CSI. I don't know, was it an operative? I don't really know. But he works for the CSI. He has his own daily life, job, wife, kids, stuff like that. And that's what I love about superheroes, that these everyday people can end up being great. Just like that one show, Heroes, from like 2006. I love that show. The show was great.
Excuse me. It's not Corona. I breathed wrong. Trust me, it's not Corona. As far as I know, you can't catch it through the internet anyway.
Yeah, I know. You know, there'll be some crazy stuff if I could. I start coughing, and everyone just starts freaking out. Internet's down.
Oh no! We'll have to end it quickly there so it doesn't spread through YouTube.
but yeah, I like that concept you have introduced there. It's like old school superheroism. I love it 100%. I can get behind that.
Well, when you mention that that the personal aspect of it, the more humanizing aspects of them are important, and I did it kind of backwards. As I said, these guys, they wanted to be more than the average person, then realized that's not going to work. Mm-hmm. That they need to be people. They can't deny the humanity within them and pretend they're above the world.
Right. I agree with that. I mean, if you're going to be a hero for the people, you got to be one of the people. You can't be like this overpowered, godlike entity and say that you're doing it for the people, because at the end of the day, that sounds kind of authoritarian to me. If you're like this overpowered, godlike, you know, hero, you're calling yourself a hero, but you know, with the snap of your fingers, you can just wipe all of humanity away if you really wanted to. So that's why I like how Superman has his weakness. He's not overpowered. It's kryptonite. It could put him in his place if need be. But Superman is the 100% American Boy Scout, you know, the true blue. And that's why people like Superman, because even though he has all these powers and he can just wipe out humanity at the wink of an eye, he still has his own humanity, you know, from Mom, Pa Kent, who raised him as a baby into the man that he is today. So even though he's all powerful, he still has what they would call his humanity. And that's why people most likely resonate with Superman. But then you kind of get into that, like, okay, let's do a universe where Superman isn't that, and let's see how that plays out. So it's always fun to mess around with that, too.
Well, and this, again, it brings me back to Star Supreme. She, when I sat down to create these superheroes last year, and it's been a year now that I've been just hammering away at this, like privately and in the background, so I have so much art to show off about them, is I sat down and I said, if Superman is supposed to symbolize hope, that has certainly fallen away in these recent years.
Right.
He's become more of a toaster for headlines, less than a symbol for hope. Mm-hmm. And I said, if I'm going to create a hero that should inspire those ideas, I don't want to copy that. And so with Star Supreme, her main purpose from me, the creator and writer, is to inspire within adults and children, teenagers, people that feel like the world is against them. There's no protector out there. There's no shield. That there is a brighter tomorrow. It might take a week, it might take a month, it might take till next year, but one of those tomorrows will be brighter than yesterday. And that's what I want her to symbolize to people. And at the very end of things, if I know I do my job right, okay? I said to myself, I'll know I do my job right if I'm an old man one day and some little kid runs up to me and says, hey, mister, have you ever heard of Star Supreme? Mm-hmm. She's my favorite superhero.
I agree. And I like that concept too. A lot of this new comic book with the mainstream, it's all based on the identity of somebody. Like Star Supreme, she's a woman, so that means, oh, girls have to like her. Or someone's black and someone's, oh, he's black, that appeals to little Andre over there. You know, comics are for everyone. It's not because someone may look a certain way or act or be something or identify something else. Back in the day, you read a comic book because you liked the character, regardless of what they look like. You picked up the book, you read it, you liked the character, you liked the story, and you kind of stuck with that over time. Now it's more or less like, oh, this character is for this group of people. This character is for this group of people. Oh, no, you can't read this character because this character is for this group of people. And I don't like that. I think that people should be able to choose whatever character they want to relate to, whether that be the same skin color as you or different or same sexuality or gender. It doesn't matter. If you like Wonder Woman and you are a 34-year-old football player who's really big, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. If you like Wonder Woman, you like Wonder Woman. If you like Superman and you're a little girl who's like 4 or 5 years old, then you like Superman. You know, I like the idea. Like, comics are for everybody. You shouldn't sit here and try and like dissuade people because of identity politics, and that's why I don't like where most of this Marvel and DC is going, because it's all about identity politics, and I'm not about that.
Well, when you set out to create stories now in this age, because this is the new age of creation, you can see it all around you, especially in this moment of chaos and panic. People are innovating faster than they have in the past 20 years. So outside of that bubble of chaos, here's Comicsgate, and we're innovating in a different way to save the medium of comic books, the medium of superheroes as a whole, I think.
Right.
And so when I set out to create these guys as a whole, this entire team here, I wanted it to be something that would last longer than me. One of the things that I found most endearing about Stan Lee is that he created characters that had such versatility that, 40 years later, they're still helming movies, they're headlining video games, they're attracting people into buying multi-million dollar intellectual properties, taking
Right.
risks on things again. And this is 40 years after they were created,
Yep, I agree. And that's something that stuck, because I mean, I asked people the other day on Twitter, do you guys still buy Marvel comics? And most of them said they do, but the only one that they really kind of repeated the answer was Spider-Man. And I'm like, well, that's true. You can't really not like Spider-Man. I mean, if Spider-Man is kind of like that staple. Everyone wants a little bit of Peter Parker in their weekly lives or their monthly pull box, and I can get behind that because Spider-Man is probably one of my favorite characters. The only reason why I don't read a monthly Spider-Man with Peter Parker, I read Miles Morales, so I'm okay in the Spider-Man area. But the only reason why I don't read Peter Parker is because there's so much Peter Parker comics out there, I don't even know where to start.
Again, I mean, this is the argument I've been making over the years now, and this has been purpose built into the Colossals. They have a timeline before you're meant to leave them and go to another multiverse and start the story over again. I have a multiverse built into this, so in no way are you trapped to this particular roster. Right. So the trouble we've run into now is that Superman's almost 100 years old, Batman's almost 90, you've got most of Marvel's creations coming up on being 70 or 80 years old. So you have now this massive group of characters that have done everything twice in every shade of blue and every shade of red, and there's nothing left for them to do.
Right.
You have, right now, DC, you have them fighting the literal creators of all reality for them because there's no higher foe. There's no greater stakes left for them to do.
Right.
You need to retire characters. You need to retire plot lines. You need to put things in a vault and let them rest for a while. And that's what's been purpose built into these characters, is that there's younger characters, there's immortal characters, there's characters that will maybe not survive this whole encounter. So there's change built into this. In order to progress the story, change has to happen. One of the things that irritated me about Peter Parker is that he was 16 years old for 30 years.
Yeah, that's true. He should have at least grown up a little bit, because I like...
Go to college, dude!
Right, yeah, right. You can't just keep on rehashing out the same characters. I mean, when you create a character, and a lot of comic book characters or comic book creators, they do that. They create a character who they expect will age. Who is this character? What are they doing now? What do you think they're going to be doing in the next 10, 15, 20 years? Not relative to you, but relative to maybe your story timeline. You know, these characters have to eventually grow up. And that's where you kind of bring in new ideas and new concepts and new characters that will maybe fill the void that hero or person might have left behind. You gotta age them up, man. I mean, you just can't leave them 16 years old for like fucking 60 years. That's insane.
Well, yeah, you run out of like summer vacations eventually. I mean, how many times does Peter get to save the universe before somebody lets him drink a beer?
Right, exactly. And I get it. Like, people like the witty, well, smart mouth Peter Parker, but I mean, like, after a while, Peter has to be Peter and like grow up after a minute or two. So you can't just have poor little Peter after a while. I did like what they did when he like created his own company, like Tony Stark, and he was like older and kind of like the Tony Stark, but instead of being Iron Man, he's Spider-Man. I don't know how
Yeah.
long that lasted. I read a few issues of that, and then I just kind of fell off.
Well, again, I mean, like, there's a lot of things changing in comic books because the medium is kind of being forced into this evolution, whether
Right.
it wants to go or not. And a lot of people are kind of talking about J.K. Rowling's method. Now, she's made some mistakes after the fact, but what she created was a story that grew up with its audience.
Right.
The
Mm-hmm.
millennials will forever carry J.K. Rowling's morals with them, thanks to Harry Potter.
Now, if she can
This
just
will,
get the Fantastic Beast movies right, I'll be even better.
yeah. I mean,
That last
I
one
don't
was
know.
garbage.
I don't know what's going on. I mean, like, there's a lot of fan fiction working its way in there.
Right. So much going on in there. I'm like, the first Fantastic Beasts movie was great. Like, wasn't Harry Potter. It was something different, but it reminds you that you're in Harry Potter's universe. Second one, I don't know what the hell happened. I was so like disappointed with this movie. So much retconning, and I'm like, oh, JK, you're gonna have to fix this because this isn't Harry Potter. You may be listening to the fan fiction, to the people writing fan fiction too much, but you're gonna have to pull it back, lady. Pull it back and start over.
Well, and this is what I did with the Colossals. As I said, I should build a character and a story that should grow up with people that kids can identify with and grow up with, while having other older audiences having characters they can grow up with too.
Right.
So I've built different age groups into this, but the main thing about this is that's different than anything else I've seen right now is I am taking you, the audience, and dropping you in the first issue into a universe that is 10 years in progress.
I like it. Okay, you're leaving me in suspense a little bit. You got the characters in front of me, and the best thing I like about these characters is the art, but I like how they're ambiguous and you don't know what their powers are. So if you would please take us through each one, tell us their names and what they can do.
From the center, there is Star Supreme.
Right.
She comes packed with the ability to fly at hypersonic speeds, lift right now an immeasurable amount of weight. She's unable to travel through space. She has to breathe. Star Supreme is unable to go 3 days without water or food. She'll starve or dehydrate like a normal human being. Without sunlight, she will deteriorate after 7 days. She's invulnerable to bullets, most diseases. Magic in this universe is a major issue for her.
Okay.
Like, a bullet cannot penetrate her skin, but vampire fangs can.
Okay.
However, the vampiric infection she is immune to thanks to her alien lineage.
Where is she from?
Now, Star Supreme's from a dead world known as Erdata. And Erdata was a world that was soaked in pre-supernova radiation. And only 1,200 of her people made it off that planet. Only 400 survived to our planet.
Okay.
I have to leave it in the dark there because there's a whole lot of story that has to happen there in order to make sense. So I got to leave it where it makes sense.
No problem. On to the next.
Yes. To her next over is Shadow Spinner. Shadow Spinner is a magic eater. Her primary ability is to consume magic and translate that into ropes of webbing that come out of her forearms.
Okay.
They kind of look like they're black projections with white outlines. her biology lends itself to being a spider. In
Okay.
addition to her own arms and legs, she has 4 spider legs that come out of her back. All of her clothing has been modified for these, and as you can see, she decorates them because she's a girl, you know.
Yeah.
Her story is in the free comic that I'm going to give to people upon joining my mailing list. She is it's a little difficult without giving away the plot to the the one pager. She's a child that was rejected by her mother, and some very terrible things happened to her until Star Supreme rescued her.
Okay. Get behind that. Nice little backstory.
Yep. Next over from that is the robot, the little robot fella. His name is Isaac. He is Star Supreme's adopted son. He is a human consciousness that was transferred into a robot body with the intention of being a weapon to kill Star Supreme.
Oh.
However, they accidentally downloaded a little boy's intelligence into it as opposed to a full-on soldier.
Okay. Now, I like it kind of reminds me of Mega Man Zero here. I like the whole, like, gauntlets and the feet. Oh, my God. Like, he's like the one that kind of jumps off of the screen kind of first to me because of his design. Like, that's a really great design for him.
Yes. Then Isaac stands for immature zero emissions killbot.
He's killing people while staying green. I got you.
He's a series of unfortunate mistakes for this group that wanted to kill Star Supreme.
Right.
And the boy, when he was put into the machine and given his target, rejected it. And upon rejecting it, he met Star Supreme. His origin is again her rescuing him, but not so much in the same fashion as Shadow Spinner.
Okay.
This is a repetitive theme of how Star Supreme meets her friends. She intervenes with them at the crucial moments where they could lose their lives or be changed forever in detrimental ways.
Got you.
This is how she comes to symbolize a brighter future.
Okay.
The interesting guy here in blue, this is Razor, and he is Hell's top collections agent.
So you like collect souls or what?
Yes. In my universe, the Demon King Baal collects souls to appease the tortured remnant of Lucifer. Lucifer consumes souls after they've been tortured after so many thousands of years. Razor sold his soul to save his little sister from eternal damnation. And the rage within him that spurred on that selling became so attractive to Baal that Baal said, "You'll be my number one." And from 13 years old, Razor has been raised up to be Hell's top collections agent. There's no negotiating. There's no going back. There's no new deals. When Razor is coming for you, it's over.
Oh, God. Terrifying. All right.
And to the far end here, we have Delilah Church. She is the one with the cowboy hat.
Mm-hmm.
In my universe, Delilah is the master of magic. She has hoarded all of it over her lifetime of, I believe that's 1,800 years. Delilah is stationed in Maine, where I live. She keeps a secret sanctum here where her jewelry is infused with ancient magic that only the soul can speak. So you don't cast spells with your mouth. You must speak it with your soul in order to cast magic. Sounds like
pretty fun. I like her dress and how she's all dressed up here, kind of like a
boho girl
from like the 70s.
Yeah, it's the boho look from the bohemian look from the 70s.
Right. There it is. I can dig it. All right, next one.
And over to the speeder-looking guy here. This is Hypercussion. This is John Paul.
Speedster.
Absolutely, and he has a trick to him. Jean Paul Lindy is a speedster that has the ability to broadcast condensed sound waves from his palms.
Right.
So there you have the hyperspeed and percussion in the name, Hypercussion.
So he's able to create sound waves and move fast.
Correct.
Okay, cool.
And then we have Solavera, and she is made out of dark star material, which is why she has this appearance. Her flames are of a magical origin, which means she can reshape them and use them to either burn people or contain them, kind of like a Green Lantern's ability.
Okay.
She joined the Colossals after spending her lifetime being worshipped as a goddess down in the remnants of an Aztec tribe that were isolated for thousands of years from modern civilization.
Oh wow, I'm digging her backstory. I like the way she looks too. She kind of looks like Infinity, but I mean she's probably next to Isaac, probably one of the most interesting looking characters, and you kind of want to know more about their backstory for sure.
Yep.
Cool. Yep. Well, I like them all. I mean, this looks great. So, tell us a little bit about the production of the comic. Where are you at? And I know you're in pre-launch. You're collecting emails, but I and probably everybody else who's watching this, I want to read this now. What's the timeline for this?
I want to make sure that I collect 500 emails for this subscriber, for this mailing list. This way, I know the project will fund. It will fund with what it needs to get to the people as fast as possible and at the highest quality I can offer it.
All right. So, how many emails do you have?
It's probably going to be about September when I'm looking at doing this. But through the summer, I'm going to continue promoting it with more art, more free comics through the mailing list. There will be subscriber goals in the mailing list that will unlock extra comics.
Okay.
In the production level of this, I am working on the 4th draft of the complete Colossal script. It's a little too long right now to fit into the printing thing, so I've got to separate some things out.
All right.
But other than that, we are moving forward with the early part of it that's already been cemented. So the first 3 pages are ready to go into production as soon as there's a special project my artist is working on right now, but I'll have to reveal that when the team it's involved with comes out with it. Sorry for the bait, but keep an eye out for Star Supreme and another project.
Right. All right, well, you're in pre-launch, so you were saying earlier that people who sign up for your email list, they get a little comic book. Tell us a little bit more about that.
My artist is an industry standard freelancer, and I work with him as a page-by-page basis. And so I've asked him to create a one-pager that is self-contained, beginning, middle, and end, that tells you the origin story of how Star Supreme came to adopt Shadow Spinner. It is a tale that is dramatic, and it's intended to be the first taste of what I call the Ciderverse for the people who've been paying attention to me for the past year now, following the production of this.
All right. I like it. So, all right. Kind of coming down to the end of our time here, Cider. I always ask people this question, kind of help other artists who are looking to kind of run their own campaign and kind of get their feet wet. Even though you haven't ran your own campaign, you are in pre-launch, and that's usually the first step to kind of becoming a success or running a successful campaign. So, excuse me. What is one piece of advice you can give people to running a successful pre-launch?
Like with Batman, be prepared for anything and everything twice. Let absolutely plan for the absolute worst thing to happen, and then imagine the worst thing that could happen that's worse than that. And just keep planning for the absolute worst things that could happen. And then at the very end of your list, be prepared for success, but always be prepared for disaster beforehand. That's my best advice, is that if the minute you think you're ready to go, you're not. It's when your friends tell you, enough waiting, get it done. That's when you know you're ready to go, and people are frustrated with you trying to make it perfect.
Got you. All right. Well, thank you for that, guys. If you are interested in getting your hands on the Colossals, go up and sign up for Cider Hype's pre-launch list. You get that one-hit comic page about Star Supreme and Shadow Spinner. I know I'm going to sign up because these artwork just looks great. All their stories just look very intriguing, and I can't wait to know what they're fighting, to be honest, because all of them from the beginning look like they're just great character designs, and they look cool enough to kind of make the reader kind of ask, okay, well, what is this about? Because I like this. I might use this as the cover page, and I'm going to need you to send this to me so I can use this as the cover page for the video for sure.
Sure.
That'll be great. So,
you should know that every character here is meant to have their own title, like Spider-Man and Thor and Iron Man. They're all meant to carry their own titles and come together as the Colossals.
See, I like that. I like the whole built universe and different stories, different intertwining narratives that kind of bring together kind of this bigger story.
And I will send this to you.
I like it. Well, thank you, Cider, for coming on to the show, man. I really appreciate it. This is something that I am interested in getting to look into myself and kind of read myself, because it's been a while since I've seen a good indie comic. Like I said, you're the beginning of season 3 of Indie Choice Pick, so I'm looking for any other artists to come on and show me what they got. This looks really fantastic, and I can't wait to get my hands on it.
And remember, this is the new age of creation. If you have an idea, get out there, get it into production. Let's see you up here on season 3, season 4, season 5. Let's get this going.
You heard them, folks. If you got anything you want to show me, let me know on Twitter. I am now taking submissions to be on the show. All right.
Thank you for having me, man.
No
we'll see you next time.
Yep, I will see you on Twitter. And when you're ready to launch your campaign, let me know so we can have you on the show to give you more of that push for sure.
Thank you, man. We'll see you then.
No problem. Have a good weekend.
See ya.
And that is it for this episode of Indie Choice Picks. Guys, we made it to season 3. I'm excited. I am so stoked to get new creators onto this show. If you are an indie comic book creator or a writer or whatever, as long as it's indie, I want you guys to come onto this show. I am now taking submissions to have guests onto this show, and you guys are all welcome to come and join me on the show. I think I said show more than once. Anyways, you can find me on Twitter at Heroic Studios, or you can hit me up on Instagram, Will at Heroic Studios. Both of my tags and links to my social media is right there. So please let me know if you guys are interested in coming onto the show. I will see you guys next time with another fun, filled, exciting